Thanks very much. So we now go on to our first panel of the afternoon. Digital transformation meets energy transition. Again, a theme from this morning, a little bit picking up my comments before lunch, that energy perhaps is moving from a commodity to a technology. And this digital transformation and the technology behind it isn't just about the solar panels and the wind farms. It's also about the technology, the hardware and software to make that all work. So our speakers, we've got Jarna Goladriga, who's the CDO of Phillips 66. And I'll ask our panelists to come up as I mention their name, if that's okay. John Gallion, President Danfoss North America. Sergio Marchand, Chief Information Officer from Avon Grid. And to chair to the discussion, we're very pleased we've got Sandy Jones, the Power Utilities and Renewable Digital Leader from Deloitte. Welcome, Sandy. Sandy's got over 30 years of experience working with utilities and midstream companies. She challenges clients to break through the operational habits that restrict organizations' ability to incorporate digital trends effectively, exactly what we need in the energy industry. So welcome, and over to you, Sandy. Thank you.
Great, thank you. You can hear me okay, everybody? Okay, great. Well, thank you to Reuters for having the event. I know someone made this point earlier. I'll just reinforce it's great to be in person, great to see everybody, and great to have these panelists with me. We've had an opportunity to prepare together over the weeks, ahead of time, and just getting excited, I think, about talking about these topics. Digital automation meeting energy transition is a significant critical part of how that energy transition will actually occur. So super excited to have this group with me today. So one thing I wanted to point out is the three panelists come from three very different companies. They're going to have perspectives, I think, that each in their own right are really, truly significant in their contribution to this energy transition. But what I think is really interesting is when we think of the innovation that goes around energy transition, we don't have to be competitive. We don't have to hold it close to the vest. We can share, and we should share. And so it's been really nice to hear what they're doing, and I think we look forward to sharing it with you. So to make sure that as you hear from each one of them, that you can appreciate the company that they represent, I'm going to read a little description of each company, and then I'm going to have them talk about why they're excited to be leading during this time. So starting actually with Danfoss, I want to share a little bit about Danfoss. Danfoss is a leader in energy efficiency technologies, sales of $7 billion, and employs over 40,000 people worldwide in over 100 countries. Danfoss is committed to meeting many of the world's climate, urbanization, and food challenges with proven and reliable solutions. Driven by the power of an electrified society and fueled by the opportunities of going digital, Danfoss is dedicated to engineering solutions that can unleash the potential of tomorrow with sustainable solutions. Danfoss innovation and technologies can be found all over the world in refrigeration, air conditioning, heating, power conversion, motor control, industrial machinery, automotive, marine, and off and on highway equipment. So with that, John, I thought it would be nice to share that with everyone, because I know as I got to know you and know more about Danfoss, you and I had a connection on a couple of things. So why don't we start with you and what's exciting about being a leader in this space now?
Yes, so for me, Danfoss, it's really part of our DNA. It's something that has always been important in driving technology, but doing it in a way that doesn't distract from the world. I mean, we've been just a recent proud supporter of the IEA event, that was in Denmark last week. That's very close to our headquarters. The city itself has done a lot where our headquarters is nearby, and we've been able to showcase really real-world examples there, driving mainly around energy efficiency, but also many other technologies, many of which that Danfoss has been able to participate in. So, I mean, that is a key focus for us as a company. We continue to innovate in this space. We continue to drive from a technology standpoint and work with our customers to be able to do those things. So it's something that we're passionate about, and we're doing it here and everywhere, I would guess. So.
Great. We'll talk a little bit about first fuel concept in a little bit, but
Yes.
that's something we definitely synced on. So let's talk a little bit about Avon Grid. And by the way, Danfoss, and where John came from today, is located in Baltimore, although it's located all over the world. Sergio, you came down from Connecticut, so we're fortunate enough to have these companies close to us. Avon Grid strives to lead the transformation of the U.S. energy industry to a sustainable, competitive, clean energy future. They are the third largest wind and solar operator in the U.S., with over 8 gigawatts of installed capacity and a renewables pipeline of approximately 22 gigawatts. In the Northeast, 8 regulated utilities of Avon Grid serve 2.3 million electric and 1 million gas customers across 4 states. Avon Grid's global affiliate, Iberdrola, is one of the world's largest utilities and a world-class renewable developer, serving a population of over 100 million people. Leveraging Iberdrola's global expertise, Avon Grid is launching the U.S. offshore wind industry with the nation's first commercial-scale project, Vineyard Wind. Total offshore wind portfolio of 4.9 gigawatts, including 2.4 gigawatts in New England, making Avon Grid the largest supplier in the region. So with that, Sergio, you want to talk about what's exciting to you leading in this time frame?
It's very exciting, no? So you see my picture and I see me today, no? My green color is clearly indicating the excitement situation that I live, no? In this energy sector, no? But it's clear that, okay, we are in a clear transformation, so clear revolution, okay, and in the utility sector, no? And we are bringing technologies that probably we never thought, no? For utility that we really need to get into this kind of technologies, no? Probably other sectors, no? Other markets, but why the utilities now, no? And you see, it's clearly a transformation. No, we will talk about a lot of the digital, let's say, solutions, no, or technologies that we have put in place, no, to digitalize our customers, or digitalize our operations, no, and it's a clear revolution. So it's really excited to be in this utility sector. No, in this case, I'm very, let's say, also lucky, no, to be in the IT, no. So probably the vision that I'm going to be providing today is more on the IT side. Okay, so not the black side, no, it's the IT side, no. But a lot of technology, a lot of solutions, bringing a lot of transformation to our businesses and our customers. So I think we have a lot of interesting topics for today.
Great. Great. And then lastly, I want to talk about Phillips 66 and Jana's company. So Phillips 66 manufactures, markets, and transports affordable and reliable energy. The company is playing a meaningful role in the energy transition, leveraging core strengths to develop, commercialize, and expand lower carbon technologies in the areas of renewable fuels, batteries, hydrogen, and carbon capture. Phillips 66 has focused on digitizing its operations and maintenance to improve energy optimization. And to this end, they are improving and transforming their San Francisco refinery in California into one of the world's largest renewable fuels facilities. The company is a leading global producer of specialty coke products used in the manufacturing of lithium-ion batteries. Phillips 66 has invested in Novonix, a leading developer and supplier of synthetic graphite anode material for lithium-ion batteries. Phillips 66 is also working to establish scale in carbon capture and to use lower carbon hydrogen to reduce site emissions. So Jana, what is exciting to you about leading during this time frame?
Well, first of all, I'm excited to represent the company. Second of all, for us, our purpose in life at Phillips 66 is providing energy and improving lives. And we actually do believe in that, what we're doing, and again, our vision of what we're doing. So what's exciting, I don't know, I'm going to ask all of you how many opportunities you have in your lifetime to be a part of something so transformational, where you know that the industry that you represent is key to that transition. And we have an army of engineers. We understand molecule better than anyone else. We have chemical engineers, we have mechanical engineers. So we have a lot of people with a lot of talent But I believe, and I've been in this industry for a long time, but to go through this level of transformation and transition, and to, in my view, digital transformation doesn't just meet energy transition, it enables energy transition. So when you put the two together, I feel this is an extraordinary opportunity for us as an industry, for the partnerships that we have and we represent, to be a part of something special for the world, for the low carbon future, for the next generations to come. So I am beyond excited. I don't think that even describes it, because the opportunities are incredible.
That's wonderful. Well, good. So that's a good, strong base from which to launch. So what we'd like to do now is kind of take it a little lower and talk about some specific examples of, a case study here or there, either something you've envisioned and are designing for, maybe you're building it out, or maybe you've already deployed it. And we'll just kind of go there. Sergio?
Okay, me first. Okay, two main areas probably. No, so one is digital customer. No, everything that is around digitalizing our customer. No, and putting more focus on each of you. No, on you. So because what do you want? No, so if you ask yourself, no, what do you expect from an utility or for an energy company? Probably one of the first things is just to improve the experience. Okay, as a customer, no, with us, no, so, and that's what we're trying to do, no, is just to enable a better, let's say, connectivity to our customers, no, so in terms of these new digital channels, no, so being capable just to provide similar experience that probably you're having with Apple or we're having with Amazon, no, similar experience when you are, let's say, contracting some energy services to an utility, no, so. And that's what we are trying to create, no? Create this kind of experience, creating this kind of new, let's say, digital channels, not only the traditional websites, no, or our web channels, but also the mobile apps, no, that we are also launching, with additional, let's say, capabilities in terms of, for example, energy management or energy manager, no, or energy efficiency. So you can just plan the energy that you are consuming at home, no, so you can just real time determine or know what are you consuming, no, what can I do, just to improve the way I'm consuming the energy at home, no. And we'll talk about data as well, no? But customer insights is another clearly area of work, no? So, because data is probably another very key asset of an utility, no? Not the real, let's say, physical assets, but also the digital assets, no? And the customer information that we have is huge, and what we can do with that information is also huge, just to keep improving the way you experience your energy consumption, no? So, and that's what we are trying to build as well, no? These kind of digital platforms in terms of analytics, or let's say customer insights, customer 360, so we can know each of you better, okay? So, and more granularly, so just knowing every 5 minutes, every minute, every 15 minutes, no? What is your consumption, how is your pattern, no? Consumption, what we can offer you, okay? And just to improve the way you consume your energy, more things also we are implementing as well, let's say virtual agents, okay, or artificial intelligence in the way we interact with you, okay. So I know that human is really important, but also we can, let's say, enable more automation in the way we relate, okay, for very basic or simple things, okay, in order just to improve the automation and probably the speed of response, no, so you have a better experience when you're asking for something, not to the utility, no, or for example, how to better serve you in terms of the ETR when we have an outage, a power outage, no, you live around, the Northeast, okay, you know that the storm situation are really, let's say, relevant, okay, in the snow season, no, and one thing that we are trying to improve as well is your experience when you have an outage, so we can inform you, okay, the outage is there, when is going to be the estimated time to restore the outage, and keep informing you regularly about the situation of that outage, no? And everything through the web channel, through the mobile channel, or any other channel that we are going to be implementing, no? Customer insights already comment, and just to have more information about you, so that's probably one of the key areas that we are trying just to build, in terms of this digital transformation around the customer. Another thing that we are trying to do as well on the customer side is the customer journey, okay, so we want to know, or we want to redesign or rethink all the different customer journeys, okay, that we have with you, the different touch points that you have with us, when you are doing a moving in or moving out, or when you are asking for, okay, a trouble or an outage, okay, or when you are wanting to pay your bill, no, or you're asking for a specific service, no, and what is the provisioning of that service. So we want to rethink and redesign all these journeys, okay, moving into a kind of, let's say, Domino's concept or Amazon concept, so you can see exactly where each of your requests are in the queue, are in the line, okay, so are in the pipeline. So that's the type of, let's say, probably innovations or solutions that we put in place, no? If we move into the digital operations, no, so probably more oriented to the grid, no? So what we are doing here, so we are trying to also improve the way we operate, no, and improving the operational performance and effectiveness in our operations, no? So what things are we doing? So for example, edge computing. So we are applying edge computing to our crews, no, to our, let's say, trucks, okay? So now, for example, we have deployed in our trucks and high definition, let's say, video camera and edge computing device, that at the same time that a crew, let's say, is doing a kind of maintenance activity in the network, at the same time that the truck is moving, we are just inspecting the network. So, and automatically implementing this kind of artificial intelligence algorithm. Is this being the noise? No.
No.
It's not. Okay. Yeah, probably
it was a door.
Yeah. So we capture, and is capable just to capture, for example, the transformers that we have, and in each transformer, looking into this kind of algorithms, we can determine, okay, we have an issue on the transformer. We can have an issue in the transformer. So we can automatically activate the maintenance request, no, the maintenance order, including as well the type of, let's say, device that you need to put or you need to replace, no, everything automatically, end to end. Okay, so it's the type of things that we are trying to bring on board, no? Again, also analytics, okay, also in this case applied to grid. Okay, and grid analytics, we can have many different use cases. Now, one is very typical that you probably know, no, because probably most of our colleagues are doing the same, no, in the utilities area. That is the predictive maintenance. Okay, how we can predict, okay, when a transformer, when a breaker is gonna, let's say, break, no, and we will need just to replace, no, so we can do the replacement before the outage is happening. So we can improve your experience in terms of, let's say, the energy reliability, no. So the same, for example, for tree trimming. So what is the best or the best optimum, let's say, tree trimming plans that we can put in place? So again, so we don't have an outage, okay, because we are trimming the trees properly, okay, and then you don't have outage, and then your experience is going to be better with us, no. A few many other use cases in terms of better, let's say, voltage monitoring of our meters, better network topology, you know, and just to connect the meters to the right transformers and avoid this kind of loading or overloading situations, no? So a few many things, no, on the analytics as well. Distributed energy resources, no, it's another very topic, no, that again, so here we are implementing portals, we are implementing this kind of platforms, you know, and just to better ingest, okay, and distribute the energy, better let's say load forecasting, hosting capacity, let's say, in order that we can plan better our network, no, and put the investment in the network where we need to, let's say, increase, no, our capacity there, no. Few many innovations, more to come for sure, but you can see we are doing a lot.
What's exciting to me, because I've been with utilities for 30 plus years, is that basically it sounds like nothing's left undigitized now, but like back in the day, I mean, what you talked about, customers, operations personnel, we didn't over-digitize, we didn't give them a lot of technology because they weren't really calling for it. Now I think they are, so, and clearly there's a lot going on there that's really exciting. Jana, you want to talk about some examples that you have?
Sure. So we've embarked on the digital transformation about 4.5 years ago, full on. It was a huge, it still is, initiative across the organization. And we had 3 things in mind. 1, agile enterprise, efficient enterprise, and smart enterprise. And that was kind of our key driver. We focus on, again, agility, efficiencies, but also bringing in the value of the data, which Sergio talked about. So for us, it has been a fascinating experience, and it's still going because digital clearly is enabling business outcomes. And we are pretty big. We have 10 refineries in the United States, 1 in Europe. We have a large trading organization. We're managing more than 22,000 miles of pipelines. We have terminals, and then we have very large marketing presence in the U.S. and in Europe. So it has been, I think, exciting for our employees, exciting for the organization to see the change that we've been able to bring to the organization in the last 4.5 years. And if I look at some of the examples of what we have done across the enterprise, one is we focused on digital operations and maintenance across the enterprise. And I know for some of us who've been in the industry a long time, traditionally we were doing maintenance just in case. And what I mean by that, it was planned certainly you take this equipment down once every 3 years or 5 years, and that's how you planned your work. And with the digital and the data and available at your fingertips, now you can do maintenance just in time. And just opened up different horizons. We have everything from the digital operator rounds for our refinery operators. When they go and do the rounds, they have their devices, mobile devices. If they see anything wrong, they raise the work order immediately right there. And it kind of leads to this process and efficiency improvement across operations. Sensors are everywhere, and what we're doing with sensors. So for those of you who don't know, we haven't built a new refinery in our country in a very, very, very long time. So our refinery is old, very old. And you have these massive masterpieces of engineering that are sitting there that were built, literally hundreds of years ago, like our Rodeo refinery in San Francisco. And so now, how do you digitize these refineries? How do you bring in, as simple as we all think Wi-Fi, it's a given, right? Bring Wi-Fi into refinery and see how given that is and how you can make that work. And you have to have Wi-Fi, we have 5G, we're bringing in a lot of technologies to ensure that is a connected refinery, and you can make decisions right there on the spot because they're data-driven decisions. And then, so that's our digital operations and maintenance, and also in midstream operations, it's monitoring and running our pipelines and running them safely. For us, safety, everything starts and ends in our industry with safety. That's our license to operate. We don't do it safely, we don't need any digital, we don't need anything else. So for us, that's really critical, and digital enables that as well. And then if I look at what we have done specifically with our marketing organization, this digital customer experience, and giving them from mobile pay to kind of connected customer, giving them all this information at their fingertips. So there's so many, I know Sergio, you mentioned a whole lot of initiatives. We all have a whole lot of initiatives. To me, the most valuable part to see is the change in the mindset of our employees, as well as our customers, of what they can get to, how quickly they can get to. We are 90+% of our workloads are in the cloud, so we are cloud first, have been, and not because of costs or anything like that. It's all about agility, and it's all about access to unlimited compute power when we need it on demand. So this has been also an exciting experience for our employees. And then, of course, in the whole energy transition and the role that data, and I know we'll talk about data. I am a firm believer in our industry, the way we look in our company. We have three major assets. Number one is our people, always has been, always will be. Number two are physical assets that we have. And then number three is probably the most undervalued asset is data. And the way we can deal in the new digital world with the data, with AI, with machine learning, that allows you to make decisions. So a specific example I have in our transition to a low carbon future is renewable fuels. And renewable fuels, a lot of my peers in the industry who you've heard from yesterday and today, they're all looking at renewable fuels, so what it can do. Well, we all look at the same sources of feedstock. It comes from the same kind of sources, so availability of feedstock is critically important. Using data and analytics to actually predict where the feedstock will be, how can you use it, how can you bring it into the facilities, that has been also kind of a fantastic experience. So it's just, if we have 2 hours, we can probably cover 5% of it, but it has been a fascinating journey so far. It's not going to end. And again, I'm a big believer, digital doesn't just meet, it enables energy transition.
That's great. And the concept of data as an asset, you and I have talked about that. I firmly believe it's the most underutilized asset that every company has, at least in energy. I know there's a lot of data out there, not as much information as we could really leverage. So thanks for that. John?
Yes, so at least for me, so picking up on the data thread, for sure, probably don't need to remind you, but the recent IPCC report for sure tells us that, look, to keep below 1.5 degrees C, we need to get moving, and we need to get moving now. It's going to take some time to get all renewable energy in place and do all the things that your companies are going to invest in, no question. But the area that I think we're missing a little bit is on energy efficiency. There's a lot that we can do now. If I take the example then is that buildings around the world consume about 40% of all the energy. This is an area where there's available underdeployed technologies today, and if we would put that into work now, you can easily get 30 to 40% energy efficiency savings, which really is something we can do now, but it also makes the journey for us go forward. If we reduce the amount of energy that we need now, the least amount of, or lower amount of renewable energy that we're going to need in the future. So Danfoss, as an example, one of the buildings that are very energy intensive supermarkets. So we provide a lot of the controls, compressors, equipment into supermarkets. They're unique in the sense not only that they're energy rich, if you might call it that, because they have refrigeration and air conditioning and the like, big open formats in a lot of cases. But they're owned and operated by the supermarket, which makes them different than most buildings, not to go down that path. But there's also a very high cost for them, and they operate on relatively thin margins. So it's really important for them. So they spend a lot of time working with us and others on the designs of their supermarkets. They make sure they commission them so that they meet a certain energy requirement. But what really makes them more unique is that they also monitor them. So we offer that service. We operate 2 different 24/7 call centers. We monitor more than 5,000 supermarkets. But what we found, and what they have found also too, is that if you don't monitor them, within a matter of months, they lose as much as 30 or 40% of their energy efficiency. And I'm pretty sure that that's the case for most of our buildings, and especially buildings like this that are multi-purpose and they change, or office buildings. And so I think there's a significant opportunity there. And if you look at it in the broader context, energy efficiency needs to be considered the first fuel. Again, it's something that we can do now, and it will help us as we're on the journey to decarbonize, which will literally take us decades to do that.
And I think one of the interesting things we talked about when you and I met was the retrofitting. You don't have to feel like it has to be new build to solve for this and use the capabilities that Danfoss and others have. Do you have any retrofitting examples you can talk about?
Yeah, I do.
I know I'm throwing you something you weren't ready for.
Here's the dilemma. It's much easier to do it on new, right? There's new standards, new environments. It's just an easier environment to do, and I think that's happening. Unfortunately, there's about less than 2% of buildings in the U.S. are new. So you have 98% of them are built stock. So you really have to go out of them, and their deep retrofits are really important. They're not easy to do necessarily, but you can easily get 30 to 40% improvement. I mean, the recent one, we work with a consultant company in Towson Courthouse in Maryland. The building was not operating very efficiently. It wasn't very comfortable. They did a deep retrofit, and they clearly are showing 40% improvements in energy efficiency, but also comfort too. Humidity control, temperature, quiet, and it's used a lot of our technologies, but we need to do more of those kinds of things to really harness the efficiency that's available in existing buildings today. And honestly, the city of New York and the state of New York are very aggressive in this area. They're providing incentives, but also sticks, carrots and sticks, if you will, going forward. But there's a big potential there, and it's not simply lighting, which most have turned and changed, but it is a little bit about building envelope, but a lot about on how they manage and control and monitor their HVAC systems.
Well, I think all of that is incredibly important, and I think about this every time I stay in a hotel, that when I leave my room, did I turn off my TV? Did I turn off the lights? I mean, I think this is, it's about each of us taking responsibility as well. So great messaging. So I think we had some questions from the audience, and I am not sure if you're planning to put them up, but yeah. So, Jana, what technologies or technology areas do you think are critical to ensuring energy transition?
Well, I think there is a huge opportunity in different kinds of technologies. And if I look at specifically what we're doing, I know you were talking about the optimization and what we can do and optimize our facilities and optimize energy that we use in our facilities. I think the sensor technology is back to, again, using AI, machine learning, and making the right decisions at the right time can help us with just that optimization. If you look at the opportunities in hydrogen, in carbon capture, I will say we have an organization, Energy Research and Innovation team, with 200 plus PhDs in chemistry and different areas, whose sole purpose in life is to look at the technologies and where we can take them and what we can do with the, ensuring the energy transition in the areas where we're playing. Pretty much all the companies that I did here in the last couple of days, we all have similar kind of views or pillars. And for us, we have 4 pillars in energy transition that we're focused on. One is, again, renewables and renewable fuels, and we're doing a lot of work. And I talked about the just simple ideas of what can you do with feedstock and using the analytics and have the data scientists who are qualified to do that and come up with that. So that's helping with a lot of things. Technologies, as we talked about, how do we measure methane? There's technologies that we're using. We work with the drone companies. We use, again, back to data and how we analyze the data and what we can do with it. And then for us also with the batteries and our partnership with Novonix, it's the company that we've invested in. They are basically creating anode materials for the batteries. We are suppliers of the material, of the needle coke. And every time I think about the energy transition and the ecosystem that we have, everyone in some way, somehow is connected. So to do it standalone by yourself is almost impossible. So you have to play in the big role, and digital brings a lot of opportunities there. And of course, we talked about carbon capture and hydrogen and what technologies are there. So I believe, there are so many opportunities, and you mix the technologies that your traditional kind of engineering type technologies and chemical technology and digital. Unlimited opportunities. We have partners here at the conference who are focused a lot. We just had Microsoft speak, and everyone is looking at that. So we're all connected in a way that we want this to succeed. I think that we're unleashing an army of people to do it. So I'm a big believer that this is, again, an extraordinary opportunity for us to deliver results. But what specific technologies? There are so many. Again, you don't want to mention, how many we're all looking at that, but opportunities are there. So I'm a big believer this is going to happen. And the way we look at it, at this transition, there are certain things that we know now that are doable by 2030. Okay, and you can work backwards and say we can deliver this part of the transition. But if you look at our 4 pillars, the way we look at it, we say we have something that near term, and we can deliver that. Midterm is more so near term is renewable fuels. Midterm is more of the batteries and probably carbon capture, and then you go into hydrogen, which is longer term. And that's the way we're looking at it, and that's the way we build our business cases. That's the way we look at what we can deliver and how technology can enable. A lot of technologies already exist. How can we make them economically viable? The timelines may be a bit of a challenge for us to be clear when we're going to deliver. So long-winded answer, but I think there are a lot of technologies out there.
Great. So next question, I think, and this is for you, John, what does your company feel are the key drivers that will help accelerate adoption of energy efficient technologies?
Yeah, so what do I see as some of what's preventing it? I would say in a lot of cases, energy efficiency is being focused much too much on first cost. So when I bring it back to buildings or the like, or residential air conditioning, it's usually the purchasing decisions made on first cost, not on the full life cycle cost. So if I use the example of residential air conditioning today, there's 10 million units surprisingly sold every year in the US. 80% plus are all at the minimum energy efficiency level, even though every manufacturer offers mid and higher units that are much more efficient, 30, 40, even more percentage efficiency, but they have an incremental cost to them up front. But those pieces of equipment are useful life is 15 years. But very few, homeowners are looking at a 15-year life cycle and understanding the paybacks against the first cost. Commercial building owners are the same, and often they also have the split incentive. They're not the one that's necessarily paying the utility bill where the savings are going to be found. And but it isn't so much, and I think Sean said, it isn't so much about the technologies. We have it today. It's really the fact that they're under-deployed. We'll need innovation as we go. There's no question about it. But I think, again, focusing on energy efficiency, back to as our first fuel, providing the right set of policies and incentives. Because if I'm a homeowner and I'm replacing, and I can get the advantage of the next level of efficient, variable speed, more comfort, more reliable, more data, because you can get that information, maybe connecting to the utility so that you can utilize my system in a demand response effort, but you don't have to turn it off, you can just slow it down. Those kinds of things can be hugely valuable. We're just, again, tend to be too much focused right now on first cost.
Yeah, I think regulatory influences will always have a big impact. I think pricing will have a big impact. Cost to homeowners, if it becomes really adverse, then energy efficiency solutions are going to be key, I think.
Can I just add? I think that this is a message of and. It's not going to be a one thing, right? Like you were saying. It is going to be human behaviors that are going to have to change. It is going to be about policies and regulations that are going to have to be changed. It is going to be about technology and technology innovation and all of that. So it is, which is why I like the whole idea of that, being a part of the energy transition, because it's an and you have so many potential opportunities. So the key drivers in the end is human ingenuity, and it's going to get us there. That we're going to meet I guess the needs of the energy across the world, and it's going to take some time. But
and there's no silver bullet. It's going to require everybody that works together on many dimensions to achieve the objective.
Yeah, and I think we heard this on other panels. It's going to take a balanced portfolio approach. It can't be all one source. It has to be a blended approach. Great, and then I think we have one more. How do your companies drive energy efficiency and awareness with your customers? And Sergio, I feel like with your digital customer discussion, this one feels right for you.
Yeah, I think we probably covered many of the topics before, when we were talking about digital customer, and that's very clear. All these energy efficiency programs or plans or energy management or energy managers that we are putting in, now in place, so and everything at the fingertips of our customers, so they can connect with us very quickly, so through the web or through mobile or any other channel that we are building now, But I will also comment a couple of things on Thana and John that cover a lot of things around driving this kind of energy efficiency or transformation. And it's artificial intelligence. For me, artificial intelligence, for example, is one of the main key drivers. So all this machine learning, or let's say all these kind of engines, algorithms that we can build on top of our data. So I think that's for sure something that should be one of the key drivers for all the transformation. And then we can just add on top of this all this virtual, let's say, world, now augmented reality, or virtual reality, or now even the metaverse, So wow, utility is talking about metaverse, yes, and meta universes, all these type of things, and this is not a movie, but it's real. We are thinking about how to leverage metaverse, and just building this kind of specific energy universes. So now our customers can just go to the metaverse and can just look into what we are doing, how we are just creating capacity, and so on. So all these type of concepts are really innovative, and I think are very important, and it's going to be there. It's computing for sure, So everything that we get, let's say the capability, the computing capability into the edge, into the devices, is for sure something there's going to be a clear, let's say, transformation, in terms of technology. And probably you mentioned as well cloud. So so you can imagine utilities talking about cloud, so some years ago, moving things into the cloud, and say what? When we have been very, very protected, in terms of our assets, our data, our information, and that's now a clearly reality. So this year, 50% of our application landscape are going to be in the cloud, 50%. So it's a lot, and our intention is keep growing and probably just moving almost everything that we can move into the cloud environments. No, I'm just implementing this kind of multi-cloud, no, with the hyperscalers. I was listening to Microsoft, no, and Dell talking about all these hyperscalers, no, and the multi-cloud concept, no, and that's going to be reality, no, and even managing our, let's say, on-prem data centers as a cloud, in fact, no, so we can just move workloads seamless between the different, let's say, environments, no, don't matter where is the application, where is the information, where is the infrastructure, no, and implementing automation. Now, automation is also another very key area in terms of technology. Automation that could be very simple, like, let's say, robotics, okay, or robotics process automation, that probably you heard about this, no? That is basically just looking into automating, let's say, very, let's say, traditional, let's say, human-intensive, with a lot of, let's say, intelligence, let's say, processes now into bots, okay? But also just moving to the cognitive bots, no? So that's what I mentioned quickly about these virtual agents, no, virtual assistants, no? That also we learn from the data on our customers. So when our customers is just calling us, we know why he's calling or she's calling. So we know, oh no, we know that you are having an outage. Probably you are calling because you pay or your payment has not been processed, or because your bill rate this month has been higher than initially expected. So we can create this kind of experience again around the customer. No? So, and again, it's a lot of engine there, no? A lot of let's say artificial intelligence there. No? I think that's going to be one of the main key areas of focus probably on the next months, no, or years.
And I think the idea, someone said once to me that the definition of precious data is changing. Mm-hmm. So the idea that, you know, a particular data set, we didn't think it was good to share across maybe third parties or with the customer, that's all changing now, and I think that's really going to be a big driver.
That's changing, and in fact, as you know, we talk about this, no, Sandy, so New York, for example, no, the Public Utility Commission now is building a program that is EDR, so that is an enterprise, let's say, for all utilities, data, let's say, data lake. So we are going to be putting all our data in these kind of data lakes, okay, all the different utilities on the New York State, in order just to start sharing data and building use cases, okay, based on that data. Okay, so I think that's the type of also collaboration environments that we need to build, no, and help also in this kind of energy efficiency, let's say, journey, no, that is start sharing things, no, because also there is a lot of, let's say, best practices in utilities that we can share together, okay, and just try just to get this kind of best practices across the different utilities, and will help us, no, so it has to be more efficient, no, the way we utilize our energy today, no, and that's also things that we are trying, no. On top of that, innovation hubs, no, so something that you asked me about where to put my money tomorrow, no, is keep innovating, no, just building this kind of innovation hubs, that again, so it's not only utilities, but it's all these kind of partners ecosystems, so and all these different institutions, right, so universities, so all these kind of really ecosystems, no, so in order just to co-create, no, and co-innovate together, no, I think that's very important.
That's great. Honestly, don't know what time we have. We could keep talking. We're having fun up here. Well,
we have a couple more minutes.
We do?
But I just have two more questions, just
Would
quickly
love it.
follow up that others might be on
ahead.
others' minds. Just very briefly, Sergio, going in a totally different direction, you know, one of the things I noticed is Avon Grid has been very highly rated on ESG, a big commitment to the Sustainable Development Goals, a big emphasis on employee engagement. Is there anything, I know might seem a little bit out of left field, but you know, having that motivated workforce is really important.
Yeah.
How does that connect to this topic?
Yeah, it's very important, because I think Sana, both of you already mentioned, no, that this is not only about technology, it's also about people, no, because at the end we need to adopt the technology, you know, and sometimes the complexity is there. It's not in the technology by the technology, it's just how we can leverage the technology just to solve a specific business challenge, no? And people is one of the main key, let's say resources, no? And capacity just to provide on the technology, on top of the technology. And the workforce is clear, so it's very important. From 2 points of view, no? One is the employees, okay? Our employees is our main workforce, okay? And we are also having a kind of, let's say, employee experience program, okay? Everything around collaboration, you know, so virtualization, so we are implementing a lot of virtualization, let's say, technologies as well, and collaboration. You can imagine, no, during COVID without teams, no, so who could survive? Okay, and we deployed more than let's say 5,000 employees into teams in a couple of weeks. So you probably remember that situation very, very well. So, but also in terms of our field workers, no? And also Sana mentioning about the field mobility and field workforce, no? And mobility. And for us, this is also very important. So and we need to get to our field workers, that at the end is the people that is in the field. And is in the field who is doing the inspection, construction, maintenance, our customer work, so means customer interfacing, no? Meter work, a lot of things, and we are digitalizing them as well, no? And sometimes, again, we have the challenge for the adoption of the technology, no? So we have specific programs also to ensure that the technology is really adopted, no? By our employees and our field workforce, and so on. So
I'm surprised you didn't mention youth, right? My kids, they live in a digital world, right? Big time. And the biggest issue, I'm a former university president, the biggest issue for kids in university these days, at least in North America, is the climate. So, you know, in terms of engaging youth, I mean, do you see a big part in that, do you talk about that at the exec table, engaging youth, new employees? Anyone else want to tackle that?
Yeah, so, you know, I believe that we're living, you know, during really interesting times because demographics are changing. Demographics for our industry are changing. And I remember a long time ago we were saying, well, this whole population is aging and how we're going to replace this talent in the oil and gas.
Yeah.
That was way before the digital kind of took off, a revolution. And we were able to do that. Now we're in a completely different world where the demographics we have in our company, more than 40% that are millennials and younger. And so they're digitally native. So they're not, for them, you know, for us to talk about the old days and how it used to be, and they don't comprehend that, right? So some of you younger ones, forgive me. But so we have to be positioned really well to attract the new generation, the new talent. And I believe that when we go to universities, and we have actually just brought in a whole big group of interns, and they're coming, believe it or not, and I think they're coming for two specific reasons. They know that technology in our industry is critically important, and being part of the energy transition, again, once in a lifetime opportunity. So you can attract and bring them and hopefully, you know, describe the opportunities and what's possible. And again, that's digital and energy transition coming together and making it not just exciting, but impactful because you can see it. I mean, I know now, since we started the transformation, you go to facilities that, like I said, we had some people who have been there for 35, 40 years who were so afraid of that technology, of touching the device and doing something because it may be, you know, intrinsically not safe and it's going to create something and there's going to be a boom somewhere. To being, you know, telling our board members and telling our executives, this is the best thing that since sliced bread, I mean, this is amazing. I just like 3 buttons and I get all of the, you know, or maybe 1, and I get all of the results right there at the fingertips. That's the older generation, but the newer ones, that's the only way they think.
It's the way they think.
That's the way they think, and to take them out of the spreadsheet world, take them out of that static environment that they lived in, into dynamic. It's a completely different way of thinking. It's a completely different way of making an impact. So I think we have incredible opportunity as an industry to attract some of the most talented people on the planet, from tech industries as well as others, because we're all committed to climate change and low carbon future.
Thanks, John. I mean, digitization has to be driven first by business need, but you know, we talked about meeting customers where they are. We got to meet our workforce where they are too, right? And so, if this is the way they think, listen, Sandy, I want to close. I want to give you the final word because you've been a great moderator. But I'm going to go. You know, one of the central points of this panel, and some of the ones this morning too, was this idea that, you know, as John put it, there's 30 to 40% energy efficiency savings there, right? So I'm going to put you on the spot as a consultant, right? Deloitte, like why isn't there a big business opportunity for Deloitte to go to companies and shop this and say, look, here's the opportunity, right? And we're going to come in, we're going to do the energy audits. I'm sure Danfoss does some of this too, right? To go in and make this happen. What's going on? Why is that opportunity not happening? Maybe we'll go to you or John. I don't know if we want to start with John, then we'll give you the final word.
Yeah, I just have a thought that actually I was been thinking about it since you brought it up, that you conscious about when you leave your hotel room. But I think, you know, all of you here are probably leaders, or your companies are leaders in this space. And I think I'm going to give 2 examples. One, we were building a new office or having an office built for us in Baltimore, actually, where my office is.
For Danfoss, building a new Danfoss office.
Yes, and so if it's a physical office, we'll generally lease, and if it's a manufacturing facility, we'll own and buy. But we went through all the design work, the property manager came in, I got into the meeting at the final ends, and I said, well, I want a LEED certified building. And they looked at me like, I don't even know what that is.
And then their eyes rolled, right? Because they're thinking 20%
exactly,
extra
they'd not
cost.
done that.
Yeah.
So, but they came back, to be honest, they came back shortly and they said, yeah, we're pretty interested in this. We've not done it in this kind of concept, but we'll do it, and we think we can do it within the original quote that you've got. Because I asked, okay, and you can do that same thing. I also think your companies can also lead here. I'm proud that Danfoss, we have a campus, we're an industrial manufacturer, right, but also offices in Denmark. It's 6,000 people, so it's a big campus. We'll be net zero by the end of this year. It's to our sense, we're walking the talk. So I think as we work together as the various companies, then share those experiences, right? This is what worked well. Maybe this didn't work so well. But we're very committed. We have a very ambitious ESG goal, and it fits well for our business, and that's where we're going to continue to invest. I have 2 millennials. I'm the same. They are very different for sure than me. But I think also too, which will make it a little bit easier, we're now over 50% millennial, but they view the environment and preserving the environment different, okay? And that's something that's more native to them than I would say the baby boomer generation that I'm part of.
Them. So.
Yeah.
Thanks, John. So Sandy, great business opportunity for Deloitte.
Yeah.
I won't even charge a fee. What do you think? Why?
Well, short answer, because I'm sure we're getting tight on time. We do. We do a lot in this space, and I'm excited. They're all very passionate. You can see the energy about talking about this. We feel the same way. We're doing so many interesting things. Whether it is auditing from a supplier verification perspective. A big thing that's very important to us right now is supplier sustainability, because a lot of the major asset-intensive companies leverage outside third-party suppliers. What are those folks doing? How are they getting to your job sites? Are they driving electric vehicles, or are they driving gas fuel vehicles? So supplier sustainability is a huge piece. There's a lot we're doing in this space. So
well, thank you.
Come talk to us at the booth.
Thank you all. And John, I just want to say that story stuck in my mind that, when you stop measuring, you lose 30 to 40%. It reminds me of my household budget, right? If I track it all, but once you stop tracking, it's like, oh, where did the money go, right? And it's very similar. So thank you. I didn't mean to steal your thunder here, but Sandy, but thank you, John and Sergio, very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Well, we are right on time, and next up we've got, again, the technology intersection. And so we've talked about having to move at speed and scale, right, through this energy transition.